Okay, next update with the Bible reading. This made me really upset. I feel so bad. So Adam and Eve had Abel and Cain. Abel was the keeper of the sheep. He had the animals. Cain tended to the ground. It says in the course of time, Cain, who does the fruit, brought the Lord an offering of the fruit of the ground. Nice, that's very sweet. He gave him an offering of the fruit. He tends to the ground. Nice. And then it says Abel, for his part, brought of the firstlings of his flock, their fat portions. So I guess he gave him a sheep. He offered him a sheep. And then it says, the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering he had no regard. Why not? That's sad. He did it first. He offered you something first. He gave you the fruit. Okay? But you only wanted the sheep. You only cared about that offering. I mean, and then Cain did get his get back. He killed Abel. Which is kind of like gag. But like, why was God so rude? Why you didn't want his fruit? That's really upsetting to me because I know what it feels like to be neglected. Like what you do not be enough. And it's like, why the f*** did you want his sheep but you didn't want my fruit? If you wanted me to give you sheep, you should have made me tend to the sheep too. Like if fruit wasn't good enough, why the f*** did you make me tend to the ground? I'm upset for him. I don't like that he killed his brother. But like, why did God not care about his fruit?
That's a great question. From the outside, Cain probably seemed like a decent person. He gave his offering, he gave some fruit, but God seen that he had a murderous, hateful heart. If you continue to read, after God rejected Cain's offering, he warned Cain not to let sin control him and to do the right thing. There's no other context that explains why God warned him, but if we continue to read, like Leo said, Cain ended up killing his brother. So God knew that he had that murder in his heart. The Bible also says that the Lord searches all hearts and understands every thought and plan. Throughout the Bible, there's a clear theme that God is more concerned with the state of our hearts than what we're doing on the outside. That may seem good. In Matthew chapter 23, Jesus went in on the religious hypocrites because they seemed like they were right on the outside. They were doing the right things, but on the inside, they were wicked. Jesus tells his disciples not to be like the religious leaders. Jesus says everything they do is for show. And then he goes on to say in Matthew 23, verse 23, "What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are careful to tithe even the tiniest income from your herb gardens, but you ignore the more important aspects of the law, justice, mercy, and faith. You should tithe, yes, but do not neglect the more important things." And then in verse 25 he says, "What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are so careful to clean the outside of the cup and the dish, but inside you are filthy, full of greed and self-indulgence." And then in verse 27 he calls them whitewashed tombs, saying, "What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like whitewashed tombs, beautiful on the outside, but filled on the inside with dead people's bones and all sorts of impurities." So what we learn from this is that Jesus is against hypocrisy. The Pharisees and the religious leaders, they were doing the right things, but their hearts were wrong. These verses exemplify how God hates when people try to portray themselves as holy, but they're far from it. God hates hypocrisy. So when we read that Cain's offering was rejected, and when we read the whole context of the Bible and the themes and the whole narrative of the Bible, we can conclude that his gift was rejected because he was not right on the inside with God. The offering looked good, but his heart didn't look good. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, give this video a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.